What's going on, rSpace peeps? This episode's about an angry ex-wife revealing some secrets about dad's new fiancée. This ought to be entertaining. My 37 male ex-wife, 39 female, went through my medical cabinet and told my son, 6, about my fiancé's, 26 female, mental illnesses. I considered posting this on a mental health sub, but as I'm already asking about how to salvage a good family dynamic from this whole mess, I figured it probably belonged here. Any help you can offer is appreciated. English is not my first language, so I will try my best to be brief and clear. My ex-wife, 39 female, and I, 37 male, were divorced about 3 years ago. Started proceedings shortly after the birth of our second son, now 4. It was a rough divorce for both of us emotionally, but I thought we had agreed to be cordial to one another out of a sense of dedication to our sons, 4 and 6. I started dating my fiancée a little under 2 years ago, and we got engaged in early December. While my fiancée has her own apartment, she frequently stays with me and my sons since both of our offices have been closed due to COVID. My ex-wife also has a live-in boyfriend, 44 male, if any of that matters. I should say now, I am mad at my ex-wife tonight for many reasons. She has a history of being unreliable in terms of childcare. This week was supposed to be her weekend with our sons. She took them on Thursday and called me today to say I had to come pick them up early because she had a big project due and needs to focus. I was annoyed on behalf of my boys because they should get some time with their mother, but whatever. I was happy to pick them up. When we got to my home, my 6-year-old seems quite restless. My fiancé at this time was out running errands and he kept asking me when she was getting home. I said I didn't know, but finally got frustrated as he was following me around and begging me for a better answer, and asked him what was wrong. He burst out crying to me and said that his mommy told him to be careful because my fiancé is a crazy person, and that my little son should tell his mommy right away if my fiancé ever does anything that scares him. For background, my fiancé is not crazy, but she does have some mental health issues. She has severe depression and ADHD. She sees a therapist, a psychiatrist, and her general practitioner regularly for these issues. She's been hospitalized for trying to hurt herself in the past, but never, ever trying to hurt anyone else. But what is really important is that due to medical allergies and bad reactions to previous drugs, she takes 2 antipsychotic drugs per day instead of standard antidepressants. Because my fiancé's issues are completely under control by medical professionals, I've never mentioned this to my ex-wife, so I was in very much confusion. I called my ex-wife and asked if she had actually said those things to my son. She glibly answered yes, but said she had instructed him not to tell me. I was obviously furious for a million reasons, but foremost, I was confused. I asked her why she thought my fiancé was crazy. My ex-wife said when she came to get our sons on Thursday, she had needed to use the facilities. I was in a Zoom meeting at the time, so she asked my fiancé if she could use the bathroom. My fiancé said yes, but asked her to use the one upstairs, as my fiancé was in the midst of cleaning the one on the ground floor. While upstairs, she had taken the liberty of opening our medical cabinet and taking pictures of my fiancé's prescription bottles. When she got home, she Googled them and figured out they were antipsychotics and had what she called an important talk with my older son about mental health and safety. I lost my temper completely and screamed at my ex-wife. Not in front of my boys, I just went outside. My fiancé has a very good relationship with my sons. At this point, my fiancé is probably one of their primary caregivers, as I have primary custody of my sons and my fiancé easily takes on 50% of the childcare tasks in our house. My ex-wife knows this. How could she possibly think it was a good idea to tell my son that my fiancé is crazy and make him fear one of his primary caregivers? My ex-wife yelled back, saying I have no right to tell her what to do, in response to me asking why in the hell she was looking at my medical cabinet, and that I couldn't tell her what not to say to her own son. I finally hung up in frustration. My fiancé came home later and noticed that my 6-year-old was more withdrawn. After they went to sleep, she asked me about it, and I told her he was sad he had to leave mommy's house early because I had no heart to tell her the truth. I still have no heart to tell her the truth. My questions. I know I need to tell my fiancé about this, and the sooner the better. How can I tell her what happened? She lost a very good position in her field due to a mental breakdown almost 3 years ago and is now very sensitive about her mental health problems. I don't want her to feel even more embarrassed. Second, how can I assure my son that my fiancé is not crazy and will not hurt him? Third, what do I do about my ex-wife snooping in my home? This is quite the predicament. Let's see what Sneaky Seer says. So first of all, speak to a lawyer ASAP. Ex could use this to change childcare arrangements or whatever. The sooner you know what her worst intention could be, the better. So call a lawyer first thing in the morning. Second, you need to tell your fiancée that your ex snooped around when she used the bathroom and made the wrong assumptions. She needs to know before your ex can try and use it against her in any way or poisons your kids against her. Maybe speak to a child psychologist. You're in a sticky situation about communicating with your kids. 1, you don't want to say anything later on that can be twisted as you poisoning your kids against their mom. 2, you don't want to let this slide and get to a point where your kids tell someone else they don't feel comfortable around your fiancé. 3, you want to make sure your kids are open and honest with you and know that you'd never put them in harm's way and whomever you bring into their lives is safe to be around. And then you need new boundaries with your ex. She is not to come inside your home, not for using the bathroom, not for anything else. She can sit in the car and you can take the kids out to her. The OP responds back, I appreciate your concern for custody, and I will be talking to a lawyer about custody anyway, mostly because my ex-wife is so unreliable and my sons have complained about a lack of routine at her house, meals being served at all hours, no bedtime, etc. But I don't think my ex-wife even wants more custody as she seems disinterested in the boys most of the time. This whole thing is bizarre. I agree she needs to know. I just don't know how to possibly tell her. She is very sensitive about being neurotic and unreliable, her words, due to her previous breakdown. I'm Googling child therapist now. Thank you. Sneaky Seer's response back, tell her you know she is none of these things and your ex misunderstood. Based on what you said, she takes certain meds because she is allergic to what normally would be prescribed. Also, the fact that your ex took pictures makes it seem like she has some plans with this. Why would you take pictures otherwise and not just ask about it? Also, it seems premeditated. What's your arrangement about child spousal support? Could money be the reason here? The OP's answer to that? I don't know if it was planned. Everybody has cameras in their phones nowadays, so taking pictures isn't proof to me that she had planned it per se. The only reason I can think she would possibly look in the cabinet is if she wanted to snoop and see if my fiancé is on hormonal birth control. But I'll admit, I'm just as confused as you. I'm racking my brain. Who the hell opens the medical cabinet when using a friend's bathroom? If only we had a functional arrangement. It was supposed to be my ex-wife taking them every other weekend. She cancels so often it's basically one weekend a month. She was supposed to take them for Christmas dinner, but she never showed up with no call. Like I said, I'm mad for many reasons. I don't think money is a reason. I make significantly more than she does, but we had a prenup. Ironically, she wanted it because she was older and more established when we got married. And I am the primary custodian, so no child support is involved. The most compelling reason I can think of is that she just wanted to hurt my fiancé's feelings. Background tip 3260 chimes in. As a psych RN, this pisses me off on so many levels. If someone is diabetic and has insulin, everyone thinks they are taking care of themselves. But if someone has a mental illness and has meds, then they are a danger? What the F? The fact that she has meds alone proves she is being treated and is a good thing. Lots of psychiatrists prescribe antipsychotics to people for other reasons than psychosis. Your ex is vindictive and above all ignorant. The fact that she tells a child this? Wow. Let's see how it plays out in the update. I took your advice and waited to see if my son would forget about when his mother told him. Sadly, he did not. He was still visibly uncomfortable around my fiancée on Sunday morning, which is very unusual for him because normally he is very affectionate with her. My fiancée also noticed this behavior and was also upset and kept asking him if he felt sick or if something had happened, etc. Following your advice, I took my 6-year-old out for ice cream Sunday afternoon. I explained to him that just like there are many diseases of the body that have different symptoms and require medicine, there are different diseases of the brain that have many symptoms and require medicine. I said his mommy made a mistake and that my fiancée had a disease in her brain that just makes her sad and very tired, but it doesn't make her crazy, dangerous, or mean. Her medicine makes her better so she can be happy and has the energy to spend time with us. I promised, as many of you wisely suggested, that I would never let anyone who was unsafe or scary into our house. One of you also suggested I tell him that the actor who plays Captain America also takes medicine for depression. This is a very good suggestion, and though I didn't see it in time, I will mention it in the future. My ex-wife hadn't answered my calls as of Monday, when I first tried to post, but she called me last night. She not only sounded off, but she also doubled down on her position, claiming I can't tell her what to do anywhere, not even in a house that isn't hers, and further saying I was misogynist for telling a woman what to do. Additionally, she told me to go F myself when I asked her to return a bag of clothes belonging to my 4-year-old that had been left at her house, and claimed she was going to burn them in order to prevent me from using them for any child I might have with my fiancée. She hung up on me and has since blocked my number. I swear to you, she was never this outwardly unreasonable and aggressive while we were married. Honestly, I am concerned for her welfare. I will be contacting my lawyer to discuss a different custody arrangement, and I am in the midst of writing an email to her boyfriend to understand what is going on and see that someone is aware of her erratic behavior. My fiancée is the hardest part. My son was a little more comfortable with her Sunday night, but still noticeably less cuddly. He has slowly gotten a little more comfortable with her, but it is still not the same. On Sunday night, my fiancée definitely noticed the difference in his behavior and was very upset after they went to bed. I had to tell her what happened, and she was very, very upset. My fiancée is a very sensitive person and has always been afraid that my ex-wife didn't like her. I told her that anyone who goes through someone else's medical cabinet is just crazy, and that isn't her fault. Regardless, the last few days have been hard for her, and she had to take off work Tuesday morning due to a panic attack. She saw her therapist today, and she is slowly starting to feel better. I have called several different child therapists in my area and have gotten a consultation for next Friday. Again, I thank you all for your help. The main reason I post this update is to tell you how much I appreciate your assistance. Thank you. Cincinnati Care Bearer chimed in, "Wow, your ex-wife sure needs to educate herself on a number of issues." OP's response, "I want to reiterate that this whole thing is not reflective of my ex-wife's personality. We had our disagreements and she was always competitive with other women and gossipy, but she was previously very polite. While she has clearly been showing signs of stress for some time, I had assumed due to COVID. I was flanked by this. She is not a bad person. This is out of her character." Bratty Princess says, "To do something like this, she stooped very low. This is a very bad thing to do for your fiancé and for your child. She may not be a bad person, but this is something that a bad person does, and the behavior needs to end. I feel so bad for your fiancé. I also am on medication for my mental illness, and being spoken about like this is so hurtful. It brings back a lot of stigma that she probably faced, as many people do with a mental illness. Your ex-wife also incites fear into your child, fear of a person that he should trust. I know this is out of character, but this is more than just stress. I think you need to stop explaining and excusing her behavior, because no matter the reason, your child and fiancé are being hurt by it." The OP closes us out with, "I know that you are right. It is just very difficult for me to make sense of this behavior. I had known my ex-wife for 12 years. I have never seen her act this way. As I said, she had some areas in which she was immature, but for all of our relationship, she was very polite and had excellent social skills. Swearing at someone over the phone is something she would never do, let alone go through someone else's medical cabinet. I'm struggling to reconcile her more recent actions with what I know to be her usual personality. You are very right that my fiancé has struggled with stigma and is now struggling more with this situation due? I'm sorry, I am confused between the homonyms, so it's 50-50 between the two. To her past experiences. My fiancé lost a very good position in her field because of a breakdown, and I know her former boss and colleagues were not kind to her at all, as many were jealous and thus glad she had failed. But she enjoys her new job very much, and her new boss is a veritable saint. She specifically chose her new job at a less competitive but still reputable institution with an all-female department, and the difference is stark. On top of all that, she is now under the care of professionals, so I am confident the current crisis will unfold differently."